This one's not turning on. So why don't we take the oh wait, yes it is. I'm sorry. I lied. It's okay. So you have Ethernet issues because you're not getting the proper. This is Windows 11, so we're dealing with a relatively recent machine.
Yes.
And it looks like you got ESET. That's my favorite virus protection.
Oh, good.
So you're telling me if I plug in this Ethernet, it's probably not going to work right, or it's getting the wrong.
Right here, it just doesn't work in my house.
Okay.
But the smart TV works on Ethernet, so I don't know what.
On Ethernet, right? That's a good observation, though, because you could have accidentally taken one Ethernet and plugged it into the same router twice. That could cause random weird issues.
Okay.
So let me plug it into my own personal network
Okay.
and see what's going on. Could you do me a favor and shut that door?
Yes.
All right. Oh, that road noise is hard for me to hear myself. Okay, so let's see how this behaves when we plug in by Ethernet. Okay, it looks like it works.
You're able to get it to the. So it's just my home Ethernet.
It might be. See, that's the problem. I don't want to show up, charge for an hour of labor, and not be able to offer a fix. You might have an Ethernet issue or a network issue at home, but you were smart about diagnosing the issue with using another device. Your TV works on Ethernet just fine, right? Okay, so that's why I essentially thought it might just be this particular machine. But you have similar issues on other. Okay. I'm wondering if you just have a bad Ethernet cable.
I tried changing the Ethernet cable.
You did try that. Okay. Because I know I have a particular bad cable, and it would just. You're telling me it sort of works, or gets incorrect numbers, or
It
what?
was working yesterday, and now suddenly none of them working.
Does it give you this icon right here? That little square icon, or does it stay
No.
looking like an Earth?
It's just looking like it.
Okay, so it's not. It's probably a bad cable,
Really?
or you could have a bad port on the router.
These?
Yes, those could be bad also,
They
but I
worked
doubt it.
yesterday.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
Okay, and they're both physically different. You got basically, I have both of these same Ethernet to USB adapters. So this is basically USB A to Ethernet, and you're telling me it's behaving both, and then
I'm plugging into different cables though, even the one that's
right.
the TV one.
But like you said, if it stays
Right.
the Earth icon, it's not acknowledging it.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking,
And that, like, can I just show you
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
picture of the
You took-
self-assigned-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, pictures help me a lot.
Okay. Here. This is what what this computer says.
Right. Oh, good. Yes. Oh,
Self-assigned IP.
oh, you got an okay.
Self-assigned IP address is what it says.
We're dealing with an. So you're out. This is your Mac Mini. Oh no, it's your MacBook Pro that's doing this. Got it.
And Mac
selfless.
says that too.
That is interesting.
And they're different cables.
Right. Self-assigned. It shouldn't be self-assigned. It should be. Well, that's interesting. It says configure using DHCP. Are you plugged into this with one of those?
No.
Okay, because the
No,
Apple.
yes, I was waiting to this one.
Okay, so that doesn't have Ethernet. Oh, you know what? I can tell you right now. Does it ever work? Has it
Yeah,
ever worked?
yesterday.
It worked yesterday. That's interesting. Okay. Let me just confirm. Let me try this.
Okay.
Does this particular machine have USB-C? Yes, it does. Good. Okay, so we got it working on Ethernet, native Ethernet. I'm talking out loud into the microphone. That's why I'm describing exactly what's going on.
Okay.
But it sounds like you're probably more savvy than you realize,
Okay.
because you diagnosed or you did some troubleshooting that I would have recommended
Okay.
that a lot of people wouldn't consider. Okay, so we're going to plug in.
I kind of wonder if someone's like coming in and trying to mess with my computers.
Right.
Honestly.
Oh, you think someone's been messing?
Kind of just because like I'm through the internet or something like that because they kept getting on my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I changed my passwords and they kept getting on my Wi-Fi.
Right.
Why can't they get into my computers via the internet? I mean, if they're that savvy.
Okay, well, that's interesting. This thing
Uh huh.
is behaving exactly as you described. See, we still don't have a connection.
So it's this thing.
It might be, yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm looking at. Physically,
What about this one?
yeah, let's try the other one. Let's wait 2 more seconds. I want to make sure it doesn't just take a few seconds to resolve. Yeah, here. We don't need this, but it's cool that you took pictures. So our Ethernet icon here is still not registering a connection when we're going from Ethernet to USB-C. So that tells me something. It tells me that we're dealing with a bad connector potentially.
One thing you showed me is that you can do Ethernet directly onto the computer. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, right.
I have these adapters.
Newer computers need these, yes.
Yeah, right.
So now let's try this one and see if it behaves correctly. So we're doing Ethernet to USB-A. That was USB-C.
USB-A is on the other side.
Oh, yeah, you don't. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see how this behaves.
So let me see my adapters then.
It might be. We're going to find out. Could you have accidentally damaged them?
No.
The adapters?
No.
Because we're big. Okay, so this one's working.
It didn't work at home.
Well, that's really weird. Is there a. Yeah, like. See, you're fairly confident your cable's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so that we can
Might be a problem with
probably.
Can we try it on this
Yeah,
one
sure.
just to make sure
It's great that you have multiple computers that we can try this on.
we're having the same issues?
Well, the thing is, this is an Apple, so it's quite possible that we don't have proper drivers.
Oh,
for
that
these-
worked for it yesterday.
Okay, you're telling me you're pretty sure that this worked yesterday. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go ahead and. Because I have the one that's designed from Apple here. Why don't you log in for me?
Okay.
Yeah. You got it? Good. Just want to make sure I don't drop anything. Did our battery just die?
I have the charger.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to log in and see how this behaves.
It's, still on.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool. So I'm going to steal my Ethernet. This thing's taking.
Taking a second to.
Yeah, it took a second.
I think that's such a pain in the ass too.
Yeah. Okay.
This computer is really limited as far as its inputs. It's kind of annoying.
That's what USB-C was invented for, because it's got a lot of backward and sideways support. So, because you could plug in screens and things through the USB.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And other like hard drives and all sorts of other like camera memory and HDMI and yeah.
Okay.
So it's a replacement for the USB, the older USB, which is that,
Right.
but also allows you to put other technologies through it, like your TV or whatever.
Okay.
So like this thing doesn't have yeah, so it doesn't have HDMI, but you can plug HDMI into an adapter with one of these. Yes.
That's okay.
So let's plug this one in and see how it behaves. You get a lot of stuff going on. Do you have a VPN installed?
No.
Okay, you got some interesting things installed. That's all I noticed.
Okay.
So we're gonna go network preferences and see if we have any acknowledgement. It
It
says it's working.
See, it wasn't working at home.
Okay, well let's just go online and confirm.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to
Google's.
speed test. Okay, yeah, we definitely have a working system here.
Why is it not working in my house?
I'm not sure. That's why I was hesitant to want to. Let's see here. Yeah, sure. Why not? Hold on. Stop. Okay, cool. Let's try this again. I just
Is
want.
there like a standard IP or way of finding out the IP that it needs to put in?
Well, DHCP is a technology that dishes out IPs to all the devices on your network. And I know you said your TV is working.
Right.
And right now I've got this adapter working with this machine.
Right.
So-
So the adapter either.
Right. So at this point, do you know if you're using the router that came with the provider?
There's no router. It's like plugged into the machine, the Verizon, Alcatel.
So you got the Verizon hardware is what you're using, right? Okay. And it doesn't work at all. It's not like it sort of works. It just doesn't work at all.
It's working fine on the smart TV.
Right. But I mean the computer or this
It
thing.
doesn't work on the computers.
Right. At this point, it might be a house call. But what we could do, you have an iPhone?
Yes.
So when you go home, we can FaceTime
Okay.
and you can show me what's going on.
Okay.
Because I think that's where we are. I'm hesitant to charge you for an hour of house calls
Okay.
if I flip a switch. I mean, at this point, I might be able to be a rock star and fix it, but it sounds like I'm going to walk into no man's land not knowing what's going on. I would check to make sure you don't have what's called a loopback, which is where you have one Ethernet going into the one router.
Okay. I don't have.
You're pretty sure. Obviously, your TV is working. So it's a weird situation since the TV is working. You got multiple devices. We've been able to nail down one potential.
Also, the smart TV downstairs doesn't recognize the Ethernet.
Doesn't recognize it.
I just plugged it in. Maybe that's why.
Okay, so one of my theories is that maybe the port on the router is bad.
For that one, maybe.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily
I
the
tried
TV.
using the port in the router in the Ethernet splitter.
Wait a minute. You're using an Ethernet splitter? You mean a switch? What? When you're telling me a splitter, what do you mean literally?
It looks it's like a 5 different Ethernet.
A port switch. That's an Ethernet switch. Yes.
Switch, yes.
Okay, so that's plugged into the router or the modem.
Into the wall.
Straight. Okay. So this is why we have to make sure we're using the right terminology properly, because a switch adds ports to a router. The router, does it
There's
have?
no router. It's just the machine that plugs into the wall.
Okay, so that's why I need to make sure what we're talking about is
I
correct.
was just online with Frontier.
Is anyone home? Can they text you a picture of the
No,
hardware?
no.
Okay, because you have what's called a router. So basically, my router is right there. That black thing there.
There's no router.
Yeah, you need a router. Otherwise, this.
I've been using just the
Okay.
plug.
Well, I'm thinking we got the terminology backwards.
Okay.
That plug goes into what's called a router. Or okay.
I called Frontier.
Oh,
They said
How many? So are these the only devices you have?
I have one more Mac Mini.
Okay, so you got a Mac Mini. Are you telling me your TV is the only thing that's working?
Yes.
If you turn the TV off and you turn something else on, will it work?
I had the TV off already and the computers weren't working.
Right. Okay. I need to see physically how things are laid out, because what it sounds like is that you kind of don't have a router.
I don't.
Well,
Frontier said I didn't, and they were going to send me one. And I'm like, I don't want any Wi-Fi. This is we can turn off the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Does anyone come in and turn on the Wi-Fi?
yeah. Okay. So if you call, yeah, it sounds like you probably. I don't have a here. Are you able to describe what it looks like?
Which one?
Well, the box that the Ethernet's plugged into.
I should have taken a picture of
Yeah.
it. It's like white.
Yeah.
It has a door in the front.
Yeah.
It says Verizon in the bottom, but it's Frontier now.
Right.
It says Alcatel, Alcatel something on the outside of the door.
I need to see what it is, because you have modem, a cable modem, that would have one Ethernet on the back, and then you have a router which
There's
has.
no modem. It's just,
yeah,
just plugged into the machine that's in my closet.
Oh, you're plugged.
Ethernet.
Oh, you're plugged straight into the ONT.
Yes.
The TV's plugged straight into that hardware.
Into that five
The switch. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You need a router. You need a router. Okay.
Is there any kind of router that you can do without Wi-Fi?
You can turn the Wi-Fi off. No residential router is not going to have a Wi-Fi.
And you can't. There's no way of hard. Is there any one that has a hard switch for the Wi-Fi?
You mean you want to physically? You're
Yes,
paranoid
I'm
about it being.
paranoid about people turning on the Wi-Fi.
You know what? That's a good question. I don't think there is.
Oh my God.
But I wouldn't be too worried about it, because if you
Okay.
turn it off, that's a higher end. That's a $400 router.
Okay.
So it's an enthusiast router, but I don't necessarily say it's a difficult thing to throw money at, because if you're a novice user, you're still able to easily navigate it through the phone, but that requires Wi-Fi. Let me think here. I'm so used to not have. Let me see. Yeah, you can just turn Wi-Fi off on any device,
There's
but no,
switch.
not anymore.
That's annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
It's alright.
It's all right. But no, I mean, you might not think of yourself as tech savvy, but I think you've done your own troubleshooting really well.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds like you plugged what's called a switch
Yes.
into what's called the ONT.
Is that a problem?
You need so basically a switch is like a deckhand on a ship. The router is like the captain that gives the orders.
Okay.
So the captain needs to tell the deckhands where to go.
Okay.
So the IP address only knows one thing, and it's
At a
going
time.
straight. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was asking if you tried the computer without the TV.
Oh, okay.
So the TV by itself is getting an
Maybe
IP
it's
address.
already because it's plugged in. Maybe it's just 'cause it's plugged in even when it's not on. That it's still only going there.
Right. Okay.
Makes sense.
So I'm thinking, yeah, if you want to call me back, well, with an iPhone, well, your iPhone doesn't use the Wi-Fi; it just uses
No.
a cellular, but that's fine.
Yeah.
There. So you possibly have a USB to a USB to Ethernet failure on one of those two devices.
Because they both worked.
Right. Well, one of them didn't work. Remember?
Did work on,
Yeah, on this one. Yes, got it. Yes.
So, do I need to go buy a router then?
Yes.
Do you have any here? that
No,
you
I don't
buy?
do retail that way. I'm like the
Okay.
mechanic. I buy parts
Gotcha,
as needed.
okay, gotcha.
But like I said, that's a nice router. But the problem is,
I don't have the money. So what would be the best cheap one?
even if you go to Best Buy, a $50 router is all you really need.
Okay.
You're going to log into, I mean, you might end up hiring me to set it up. It's not a particularly difficult thing to do,
Okay.
but I understand why you might want to end up having to have me just do it all.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not totally unsavvy. Like
Obviously.
I can do things,
Obviously, yeah.
So I could probably set it up. I didn't know what the problem was.
Right.
I'd be happy to pay for your half an hour.
yeah.
If you like.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Call me if you want to go to Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to spend more than $100 because you're a very straightforward user. I would avoid Wi-Fi whenever possible, just for performance. I understand you're in it for security,
Right.
but yeah, get a router. The ONT is going to plug
Yeah.
straight into the router, and from the router, all your devices can be plugged in.
I have a Bitdefense Bitdefender box.
Yeah, I don't, without you showing me what it is, I want to make sure we're on the same page as far as terminology goes. So when we do a FaceTime call,
Can I use that as my router? Or something?
no, I don't even know what it is. That's my point.
Because it actually is a Wi-Fi router. It's the Bitdefender box. It's made by Bitdefender.
Yeah, I need to see what it is to know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
or if I don't have a model number, I could look up the part number and see what it is.
I was wondering if I ran it through that, if maybe it would work. It just.
It could be a router. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bitdefender might be in the market of offering up a router.
Okay.
But if you go to
So
Best
then
Buy,
I don't have to buy one.
you're gonna. I don't know what that device is.
Okay.
I'm thinking I'm about to send you to Best Buy and spend $50 to $100 on a router.
Okay.
You're gonna plug that ONT straight into the router, and from the router, all your Ethernet ports. Actually, you get the switch.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need the switch because the router is gonna have at least 4 ports.
Oh.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
yeah. So the switch is so that if the router by itself doesn't already have enough
I see.
Ethernet ports,
Okay, I didn't know
that's all right.
that. Okay.
So I'm thinking you're trying to plug a switch because there's basically no smarts. There's no higher level
Right,
management
right.
in that switch.
Okay.
So you're just going to want
That
to.
makes sense to me.
Good.
It's just going like, oh, I just want to use this for one thing because I don't have anyone telling me what to do. Kind of
Right.
Thing. Yeah.
Right. So you have basically theoretically you can plug up to 253 devices into your home network.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the router allows. The switch,
Oh.
even though it has 4 or 5 ports, is only going to allow you to. You can physically plug 5 devices in,
Right.
but only one device is going to work.
Oh,
Yeah. That's why if you turn one off, the other device is going to eventually start working.
okay. Okay.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the OMT technically is the very, very back end of your network.
Mm-hmm.
It may or may not relinquish the numbers necessary to make a device start working randomly. So
Okay.
I'm throwing around jargon.
Basically, the router's going to give it an IP address.
Yes,
That's gonna work.
that's exactly what that does.
Alright, okay.
That's the job of the router. It's
Okay.
the boat captain that sends those IP addresses to the other devices on the network.
Okay. You spent a half an hour with me. At
Cool.
Least. Can I pay you for that?
Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
And then we'll just include a 5-minute phone call or whatever.
Do you do credit cards?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's
So
what I have, so good thing.
that's fine.
Okay.
So you can, if you're going to buy something locally at Best Buy, I wouldn't be too shy about getting a less expensive one because of what you need. Since Wi-Fi is not a real issue,
Right.
you're going to want to get a better router specifically when Wi-Fi is a problem, and you do want to rely on it because a cheaper router is going to have a lesser radio on it. But so that's not
That's better.
well. You're worried about security.
Right,
So
right.
if you really want Wi-Fi off, then we don't care about the Wi-Fi performance.
So then the lesser radio doesn't mean anything different.
Yes. Right. So in your case, a $50 router might be all you'll ever need.
Okay.
So.
And what I want to do though is go home and make sure that my Bitdefender box isn't already a router.
Right. That's why I'm saying go home, take a picture. We can FaceTime, figure out what you do have as far as hardware goes, and then go from there. Because one of the reasons why I'm actually kind of not wanting you to go, what I realize is that I can't recommend a router like that is because you do need a Wi-Fi accessible phone to administer like a more expensive router.
Okay.
So you're going to want one of those old school $50 to $100 routers where you can go into a website and administer it through Ethernet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And now, again, that's sort of a technical thing to do, but it's something that's doable.
Okay.
So there we are.
I'm gonna definitely try the Bitdefender box then. I think I can.
I need to know what that is. You're calling it a Bitdefender box? That doesn't tell me what it actually is.
What I can show, I might be able to show you a picture of it because the thing that I have connected to it is this app. And let's see. This is what it looks like right there. That thing right there. It looks like a cartoon like that. That's what it looks like.
That still doesn't give me enough details.
Okay. And I think I can actually turn off the Wi-Fi from here. So it doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, see, I need to know what that hardware is.
Okay.
Month is 3 digits are. What's your billing zip code?
9278.
Cool. Sign with finger. There's your card.
Thank
Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, good news. I think all your hardware is perfectly functional. But I don't understand how you get the service without being given the Frontier router.
Because I was using Bitdefender box, maybe.
Yeah, that doesn't tell me a lot. I need to know what that hardware is, or there's got to be a technical reason. Because if you don't tell them otherwise, they're going to by default, plug it in.
Router.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I had to specifically say, I don't need your router. I've already got my own.
Oh,
That's the sort of conversation you should have had.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So weird. Or if you're renting, it might have come.
It's my mom's house.
All right.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So it looks like you got a good usable machine here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You got your payment.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, go home and we'll FaceTime
Okay.
and we'll figure out what hardware you have,
Okay.
and then I'll send you to Best Buy.
So the number that I called earlier is your
Yes.
no FaceTime?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Good observation.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna have to give you my personal phone number because that 855 number doesn't really do FaceTime.
877, I believe.
Yeah, that 855-434-8787. But yeah, let me give you my.
877.
Yeah, that phone number won't. Yeah, no, hold on. Let me find out that old number you called me. I don't think
877.
855. No, that's not me. That 85. You know what?
That was you.
That was
That's the
me.
number I called. Yeah.
That really. Oh, you know what? That is weird. Here, let me do this.
That was what I got from Google.
Well, can we? You're pretty sure that's. Will you call me at around 4:10?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what happens.
This call is being recorded.
Where'd you get that phone number?
Google.
That's really weird. Okay. There's got to be a I got to look at my phone system because if we do 855-434-8787.
This call is being
Yeah.
recorded.
I got multiple numbers. You
Oh,
might,
okay.
but I don't know how you got that phone number.
On
Please
Google.
hold while I try
That's-
to connect you.
Weird. Okay, so we'll do this. We're going to create a contact. South Bay Tech Gurus.
My friend worked for you too.
Who?
Tom.
Tom who?
I don't know what his
I know a lot of Toms.
Tom, he's got dark hair, he's kinda big.
Tom Wallace?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met him through myself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris is my name. Okay, so the 855 number is not FaceTimeable. The 310 phone number is.
Okay.
310. There we are. Good. Do you see how the FaceTime icon shows up? You've
Okay.
used FaceTime, right?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
So when you get home, FaceTime will figure out what hardware you have.
Okay. Make sure that works.
Yeah, go ahead and actually do it. Let's practice FaceTime so you don't accidentally dial the other number. I try not to give out that number too often because my 855 number is a little more manageable, professionally speaking. Yeah, so try to do a FaceTime. Yeah, let's try that. Good. Hold on. Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
Good. So we do that call,
Cool.
and then we'll figure out what's going on. No problem. No, you're easy to work with because you're more savvy than you realize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
You get people that just don't know what they're doing. You're like,
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. I don't know what sort of terminology I'm hearing. If it's correct, I have to. And that's why it gets frustrating because if I'm going to make a house call, I need to be darn confident that I am able to offer a fix without just saying I'd like to get paid without offering anything.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
So, cool.
Thank you.
All right. Call me in 10 or 20 minutes when you get home and we'll go from there.
You have 15 minutes to get here, so I'll-
Yeah, all right.
I'll do that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you go. Those are the sorts of conversations I sometimes like to record. If these are the sort of interactions you'd like, you can give me that phone call at 855-434-8787. That's pretty much it. I show up sort of randomly. I don't really have a schedule these days. I show up when it makes most sense. 855-434-8787. Show up when I'm live. Join us in the YouTube chat. give us that phone call if I'm not here. If you give me a phone call at that 855-434-8787, I'll still give you a phone call or a conversation. And I might take that live conversation and air it live later. Here. All right, that's pretty much it. I do appreciate everyone that shows up. I am encouraging everyone to show up. Without you, it's a little less interesting. What I'm trying to offer is a live interaction. That is what most of this YouTube channel is all about. I don't record a lot, only for later release. Obviously, the conversations that I try to offer are most beneficial when you catch me live. All right, I'm going to take off. It does look like I have a few viewers. If you want to say hi, show up in the YouTube chat, ask questions. I'll try to answer. I do encourage interaction. That is what I'm all about. I'm going to take off. I don't have anything else to ramble about. And that's pretty much it. Happy Saturday evening, everyone.